Most people think of their career as a job, a role, a title, a company, a paycheck that arrives once or twice a month. And as long as that paycheck keeps arriving, they assume that everything is just fine. But careers rarely fail in dramatic ways. They don't collapse overnight. Most of the time, they decay quietly. They decay when a leadership change shifts priorities and your work becomes less relevant. They decay when a restructuring removes your team. They decay when the tools change faster than your skill set. And they decay when your industry changes. And you don't notice until you're actually left behind. And the uncomfortable part is this: people don't often realize that they're losing leverage until they actually need it. This video is not going to be about getting promoted, and it's not going to be about resumes or interviews. It's not motivational content. This video is a foundation, because if you treat your career like a job, you will design it like a job: short term, fragile, and dependent. But if you treat your career like a system, you start designing around a different set of questions. How do my skills compound? Where does my leverage come from? How replaceable am I? And what options do I have if this eventually ends? Can I negotiate, or can I only accept? When your career is a system, you don't panic during change, you just adapt. So in this video, I'm going to give you a framework for career design that is built for reality: rapid changes, global competition, shifting incentives, and unpredictable organizations. So if you're looking for comfort, this might not be your channel. But if you want durability and optionality, you're in the right place. Most of us inherited the same story: study hard, get a degree, join a good company, work hard, be loyal, climb that ladder, and eventually retire safely. For decades, that model worked reasonably well. Not perfectly, but well enough. It worked because the environment was different. Industries changed more slowly, most careers were local and not global. Tools and practices lasted longer, and companies were structured to retain people for decades. In that world, loyalty was often rewarded with stability, and stability made it possible to plan your life. But that world is long gone, and here is what's dangerous. Most people didn't consciously choose the old model, they inherited it. It became the default. So they keep playing by old rules in a new environment. What's going on today? Companies optimize for efficiency and not loyalty anymore. Strategy shifts fast, and organizational charts follow. Roles have shorter life cycles, and competition became global. Your skills are gonna expire faster, and tools change continuously. And yet people still act like the latter is still stable. They still optimize for a good job as if that is the final goal. When in reality, a good job is just a moment inside a larger system. And if you don't build a larger system, you become dependent on the moment. Let me say that clearly. If your career strategy is get a good job and hope that it stays good, that's not a strategy, that's just a bet. Stability feels like the right objective. It's understandable. People want to pay the bills, they want predictability. They want to build a life without constant uncertainty. But today, stability is not something that you design for directly. Stability is something that emerges temporarily when conditions align. Companies don't promise stability, they promise outcomes. And when outcomes change, decisions change as well. This is not personal, this is structural. Your company, in the end, has incentives: reduce costs, increase revenues, manage risks, increase efficiency, and hit targets. If your role aligns with incentives, then you are quote unquote safe for now. If it doesn't, it becomes a question. And for most people don't realize how quickly safe becomes question. Here is the mistake that most people make. They confuse temporary stability with structural security. When temporary stability is my paycheck arrives, my boss likes me, my team is stable, we're performing at the moment, things feel fine. Structural security, on the other hand, is I can replace my income if needed, I have transferable skills, the market recognizes my value. I have options, therefore I can negotiate. Those are completely different things. If your career depends on just one employer, one income stream, one professional identity, one internal reputation, you don't have stability. You have single points of failure. And single points of failure don't look like failure until they do. So the goal here is not to achieve stability. The goal is to build a career system that makes you resilient when stability inevitably disappears. Because it will disappear at some point. For almost everyone, it does. A job answers a short term question: how do I get paid this month? A career system answers long term questions. For example, how do my skills age? How transferable is my experience? How or who values my work outside of this employer? How many paths does this experience create? And how quickly can I reposition if needed? Most people never ask those questions while their job is working. But systems aren't built for when everything goes right. They're built for when assumptions break. Picture a job as a node and a career system as a network. Networks survive disruption better than single nodes. So let me give you a simple test. If your job ended tomorrow, no warning, what happens? Some people would say, I'd be fine, I'd just get another job. But when you push deeper, the reality is often that they never tested the market, their resume is outdated, their network is internal and not external, and their skills are contextual. Their confidence is tied to their title, and their income, therefore, is tied to one relationship. And that's not security, that's just inertia. And inertia feels like stability until friction is introduced. This is why I keep using the word system. A system is designed, a system is maintained, a system has redundancy. A job is an outcome. A system, on the other hand, is the engine that produces outcomes. So your goal is not to get a job. Your goal is to build that engine. One of the most common traps is assuming that a high salary equals security. It doesn't. If that high salary is tied to one company, one specific stack, one internal reputation, one niche flow, it can be extremely fragile because if that context disappears, the salary disappears with it. Real security is not high income. Real security is income replaceability. So ask yourself, if this ended tomorrow, how long would it take me to replace this income? Would the market pay me the same? What evidence do I have that I can replace it? When was the last time that I tested that? Most people haven't tested it in years. Some have never tested it. So they mistake the number on a paycheck for a guarantee. And it's not a guarantee. It's just an agreement that can change anytime. And here's another uncomfortable truth. If you can't replace your income, you can't negotiate. You can only comply. That's why high earners sometimes stay stuck longer than low earners because lifestyle expands, obligations expand, and the income becomes harder to replace quickly. So the question is not how do I maximize salary? The better question here is how do I maximize leverage and replaceability? Because salary without replaceability is fragile. Most career decisions are optimized for comfort, not intentionally, but in practice. Comfort looks like staying where you are known, staying where you understand the politics, staying where you have momentum, staying where you don't have to relearn everything, and avoiding the discomfort of being a beginner again. And I'm not judging that. It makes sense psychologically. But comfort comes at a cost. It reduces feedback, it reduces exposure, and it reduces growth. Over time, comfort creates dependency. And dependency on your employer's structure, dependency on a manager who protects you, dependency on internal systems that you didn't build, dependency on being the person in just one context. And dependency feels fine until it becomes a cage. Let me give you a simple way to see this. If the story of your career is, I'm doing great because my environment is stable, then your performance is partially an illusion of that created environment. But if the story is, I'm doing great because my skills travel and the market recognizes my value, then you have created durability. Comfort can be a good part of life. I'm not saying that you should see chaos all the time. I'm saying you should stop confusing comfort with security. Comfort is a feeling. Security, on the other hand, is a structure. Now I want to get practical here. A resilient career system is built on four structural pillars: transferable skills, market visibility, negotiation leverage, and optional income paths. If you get this right, your career becomes durable. If you ignore them, you become dependent. So let's break each of them down. Transferable skills are not buzzwords. They are capabilities that survive context changes. The market doesn't pay for effort, it pays for outcomes. And outcomes come from capabilities. Here are some examples of durable capabilities. Problem framing is one, when you turn chaos into clarity, communication, aligning people, reducing misunderstanding, decision making on the uncertainty, systems thinking, seeing dependency and failure points, execution, converting plans into deliverables, and technical fluency, understanding how systems work even if you don't code, for example. Notice what's not on that list. Tools, company-specific processes, internal dashboards, niche workflows that only exist in your employer. Tools matter, but tools change eventually. If your value is tied to a tool, you are renting your career from that tool. A strong career system is built on capabilities that make you valuable even when tools eventually change. If only your manager knows your value, then you are invisible. And invisible people don't have leverage. Visibility is not posting motivational content or quotes. Visibility is signal. And signal can be something like a portfolio, writing that demonstrates your thinking, speaking, case studies, clear positioning on LinkedIn, and being known in a niche community. The goal here is simple. When you need options, you don't want to start from zero. Market visibility is like a bridge that you're building before you actually need to cross it. Negotiation leverage is the ability to say no without panic. If you can't say no, you're not negotiating, you're just hoping. Leverage comes from options. The option to walk away, the option to pivot, the option to wait, the option to choose. The simplest way to increase leverage is to reduce dependency. So you build savings, reduce fixed obligations, keep your skills current, maintain relationships outside of your employer. Because negotiation is not a conversational skill, it's a structural position that you have. Optionality is where careers start to actually compound. Optionality does not necessarily mean multiple jobs. It means translation of your experience. For example, a specialist can become a consultant, a manager can become an advisor, a builder can create a product, a subject matter expert can be a mentor, and a strong operator can help others implement systems. The point is not to do everything. The point is to ensure that your experience can convert into value in more ways than just one. Because if you only have one conversion path, in this case, salary, you remain dependent. Optionality is resilience. In the end, career sovereignty doesn't mean quitting your job. It doesn't mean becoming an entrepreneur or rejecting structure. It means chosen dependence. It means you can commit to a company without being trapped by it. It means you can renegotiate when conditions change because you have leverage. It means you're not living in fear of one decision that you didn't make. Sovereignty isn't independence, it's the ability to choose. A choice comes from structure, skills, visibility, leverage, and optionality. Most people try to design their careers alone, and that, honestly, it works, but it's slow. A mentor doesn't magically fix your career, a mentor compresses time. And they're doing that by helping you see patterns that you can see, stopping you from optimizing the wrong variables, showing you paths that you didn't know existed, and calibrating your expectations and your strategy. Mentors reduce wasted time, and wasted time is the silent killers of careers because time is the one thing that you can't recover. So if you're serious about building a career system, mentorship it's not inspirational, it's infrastructure. This playlist is not going to be about generic career advice. This is not hustle culture, it's not motivational content, and it's definitely not follow your passion. It's about career design as a system, skill leverage versus skill accumulation, positioning and market signal, negotiation dynamics, and monetizing experience responsibly. Turning your career into a platform, not a ladder. The goal is not to get a job, the goal is to stop being trapped by one. If your career only works when everything is right, then it's not a system, it's just a bet. And bets eventually expire. If you want durability, you build transferable skills, market visibility, negotiation leverage, income optionality. That is the career system. In the next videos, we'll go deeper into each one of these pillars with examples and practical steps. So subscribe if you want a career that gives you choice and not just comfort.